Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel and the podcast. We got some exciting news today because the Vikings are starting to fill out their coaching roster. You know, we finally got Kevin O'Connell. Now we're starting to get the D coordinator. We're starting to get the offensive coordinator. And I got two topics for today's video. The Vikings did officially sign, or they're looking to sign Mike Pettine as their defensive coordinator, stealing him from, I guess, most recently the Chicago Bears. But he was also with the mainly known for being with the Green Bay Packers for the majority of his defensive coordinator position. And then we have one problem with Kevin O'Connell that nobody's really talking about. Let's get into it right now. All right, so Mike Pettine, our newest defensive coordinator, he is somebody who I am actually thrilled about. And I understand there are a lot of Vikings fans on Twitter, Instagram comments, at least just what I have seen, who are saying, why did we not give it to Andre Patterson? And I've said this on this channel multiple times. I've said this just talking with my friends. I've said this talking with my parents, you know, whoever it may be. Andre Patterson is the most underrated position group coach in probably NFL history. He doesn't get the recognition as big time name position groups are, who get promoted to D coordinator, then obviously the head coach. But with Andre Patterson, he's been just staying the consistent, amazing defensive line coach for the Minnesota Vikings. So, like, the human side of me wanted him to get that upgrade, or him to get that promotion to defensive coordinator. But the thing is, when you have a chance to bring in Mike Pettine, who's done it before, who's called plays before, you're not going to pass that up. It would be a ton of expectation on Andre Patterson if he had to go call plays in his first season being a defensive coordinator. And listen, maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe it's not as hard as I think, and I'm undervaluing Andre Patterson, and he should have gotten that role, and that could very well be true. But now what I'm worried about is losing Andre Patterson. I don't know if he'll stay in Minnesota as the defensive line coach, because I sure hope he does. But anyways, we got Mike Pettine. One main thing about Mike Pettine that he loves to run is the 3-4 defense. And if you guys don't know, that is 3 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. And I really like this defense, and I think it works well with the Vikings. If you're looking at the Vikings D-line, I think you got 3 guys who I absolutely love. And that's Michael Pierce, Danielle Hunter, and DJ Wonnum. So if you have that in your 3-4 with just those 3, and then you could bring Barr off an edge as another rusher, you would need to obviously add more linebacker depth to run the 3-4 defense. But it's definitely something the Vikings are probably going to implement, and I absolutely love. Because I love the 3-4 defense just personally more than the 4-3. I just think with the 3-4, you get more athletic players on the field, meaning linebackers. You get faster. I mean, just too many times this past year, especially when the Vikings had Armin Watts and Michael Pierce in the game. Yeah, sometimes they would blow up an inside zone run, but the amount of times teams would run to the outside and I'll just see them kind of, chugging along behind, it would get very frustrating. So anyways, Mike Pettine, defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. Now let's talk about the one problem with Kevin O'Connell. All right, so everybody's freaking out. There's actually no real serious problem with Kevin O'Connell. People are freaking out because he hasn't called plays before. He's never called plays in his NFL career. Yes, on paper, face value, I would consider that a problem. I would say, you know what, he hasn't called plays, he has got no experience. Yeah, that would be a problem for an offensive coordinator, head coach who's going to be calling plays. But the thing is, Kevin O'Connell was the most important person in the Rams offensive scheme besides Sean McVay in LA. And if you didn't know, Kevin O'Connell was the one creating play design in LA. He was the one that made final adjustments on Saturday night for the plays. He had final cut on the offensive game plan for the LA Rams, and McVay was really the one calling them. So I think calling plays, yes, there's a certain feel to calling plays, part of the game. Obviously it's not easy to call plays in the NFL. You calling one of your, let's just say you got 5 really good plays that are going to hit on this certain type of defense, and you call them at the wrong time. Yeah, you could have a great play design, but if you don't know how to call the play specifically in the right moment, it's a waste of a play. So I get that aspect that he's never really had a feel for it. But if he's the one designing the plays and making the final cuts, I think he'll be fine. I think this will obviously be something, it may take a week or two, or it may take a month or two, where the Vikings may look a little off in September and October and November. But guess what? Who cares about how you play football in September, October, and November? It's about how you play in January and hopefully February. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We got Mike Pettine as our most likely defensive coordinator. And then the one problem with Kevin O'Connell, that doesn't really seem like a problem to me. Let me know what you guys think down below. Skol Vikes.